So as you can notice, there are two of us, because in Cogworks we like to work in teams. And all of the previous presenters were working alone, but yeah,
we are doing a lot of pair programming.
So yeah, we are, and we are scared also. So, so my name is Dawid Koruba. I'm an Umbraco developer in Cogworks. I work in Cogworks for almost half a year, and before working as a Umbraco developer, I was working with Episerver. Some of you may know it as a different CMS, but paid one. Yeah.
Yeah, we work together. I'm Grzegorz Margol. We work together in our former company, but we were not pair programming there, so we had the chance to do that in the Cogworks. Yeah. Yeah, we both are certified Umbraco developers and trained by Mariusz
Majecki.
Majecki, yeah.
And
yeah, and in this presentation, Adam Sharkross, Umbraco fan, it's undercovered boss. Our boss will help us. Yeah, thanks. So what we would like to show you is few use cases of the website made by Umbraco. Some we worked on and some that are famous in general and the high profile. Okay, so continuing the tradition of from Ismailiusz, we'll give some sweets. We have some sweets to give away. Anyone?
Who will guess?
Yeah.
Who is she? What's their name?
What's her name? Anyone?
You don't count because you work with us. So.
Yeah. Who said that?
Łukasz.
No, but from the audience. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
You want a Prince Polo or Krówka? Right. Yeah, we need to practice that.
I told you not to drink the beer.
Something for girls. Ania, Kasia. Okay.
Yeah.
Krówka or Prince Polo?
But Marcin also gets it, so.
Okay. Krówka? All right. Okay.
It's not a very popular show, but maybe some of you have watched it.
Yeah, and we'll recognize next faces.
This lady. Could you repeat?
Damn, he's good.
Ah, yeah.
Krówka or Prince Polo? A little bit harder. Her real name.
Okay, she has very difficult to pronounce name, so but you probably know her from the role in.
Is Gwendoline Christie or?
Gwendoline Christie.
All right, and those people,
so, well,
all of those people have something in common. Give us a second.
Good question.
And we have Prince Polo. It was not used. It's from Ismail. I got it from Ismail for. You need to ask question, Ismail. Okay. There is the same talent agency behind all those people we show, and that's the store management. It's a well-known talents management agency from London. And we will say something about it. That's the project that we made in the Cogworks from the beginning. And basically we'll just share some details with you. This is how it looks like. We have boards for models, for artists. That's the board for women models. You can spot those. How to turn on laser? Yeah, those numbers, those white numbers on the board images. Those are statistics from the social media, and we can sort those boards by the reach in social media. Something for girls. Okay, and the artist.
This is also the, I guess, famous musician. And
Yeah, my wife loves him.
Yeah. He's the second one.
Yeah, I'm his second fan. Okay, and the previous thing was the public side, and another component of this solution, that the part of the solution is the e-casting. It allows the managers to propose models for the fashion shows. So they can choose the models from the database that we have, and then basically can propose if those models fit to the fashion show, and then if they agree, they just hire those models for this event. So we have two parts of the application. First one is the public side, which are the boards with the models, and second part is the e-casting, the thing for managers to basically manage the manage the castings. Here we have the list of the castings for some. It's a fake user, but just to show how it looks like. And here's the board where you select the models for the show, and then you send it to the client. And from the big picture, is what the application does. That's all it does. Okay, some numbers regarding store. It was founded in 1987. Currently, in database they have 969 talents, and since we developed the solution, we have recorded 15,000 castings in the system. Some more technical data. We have 5,000, almost 6K lines of code. The lines of code were counted by the Visual Studio code metrics. So it counts its own way. So I think it's more lines of code, but not relevant.
We are aiming to make it the lines of code higher as much as possible, because we are paid by line
there was
of code.
temptation just to double it or.
Joke.
Okay.
Our target is 10,000 exactly.
Yeah.
Adam promised us that, so we are trying hard.
Okay, so we committed 549 times, and we released 33 tagged versions. Probably there was more, but there is also probability that someone, when he was pushing to the repository, forgot to tag the version. So probably there's more versions we released. Okay. Architecture. It shows how the solution is set up. So the user using the loved and the famous browser in the industry just reaches web app. This chart is quite similar to what Michał shows in his presentations. We are not doing auto-scaling. Yeah, so basically we are using CDN on top of the blob storage to serve the images for the models. We are using web app as a core for web app, basically. We are using also the SQL database that's also hosted on the Azure, and we have one separate web job to get the statistics from the social services. Yeah, as I said before, we have two functional components: it's the public website and the casting intranet for the managers. Yeah, just to show you how the back office looks like. Those are the boards for the artists and models. Here we have e-casting and a bunch of other websites like privacy policy and the other stuff. The important thing is also this part where we keep all the models, all the models and talents basically. That's the back office media structure, where we keep all the images for the for the talents. And the interesting thing about it is when we add the new model, we are automatically creating the media structure for the images, for the videos, and everything for those people in the media office. And we do that using the event handlers. It's built-in Umbraco. We wouldn't go into the details, but you can check the documentation on the website. So just to give you a sample, just for instance, saving event. When we are saving some image or any other media item, the media event handler handles that event and creates the image crop. That's when we are saving the image. Another event is saved event, and then handler just sort the files in the directory. A little bit more happens when we are when we are saving content, when we are working content. When we are saving content on saved event, we are creating those media structures for the models. So basically, for example, for model, we create the images directory, videos directory, and there are other two sections, vision and creative, for which one we also create the directories. And when we publishing the content, then it's natural. Basically, we are just clearing cache for those items. And when we are published, we're doing the same. We're also clearing cache for those. Yeah, that's our web job. I thought before. Basically, it's scheduled to run once a day. It fetches the stats from all those services, from Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Then it saves it to the database, so we can use it on the website when we show the board.
Just for the agencies to see what model or artists have the most social reach, so are the most known or just have the most followers.
Yeah, for sure that adds some value for the models, just to be well known and have
those most popular are even more popular because they are first.
Yeah. Okay, just to remind you that those numbers, I can leave it for a second just to take a look. Another interesting fact is that this board, we are checking it very often just to make sure we don't have any issues on this one. So, yeah, I think it's natural, especially in our industry where we have, how many girls we have in the audience? Okay, 3, yeah.
This page is most bug-free because almost every mail in the office is checking it very often. So if there are any error occurs, and we are able to spot it almost instantly.
We don't want to show you the portfolio page, because when you click on the image, you will see the portfolio page with the bigger images, just to not lose the focus of the subject we are presenting. Just sorry, guys.
I don't recommend watching this site when you are in home and your wife is around. And
so there is a rule in Cogworks: when you are working at home, you're not working on the store.
Yeah, this is just to avoid any problems at home and divorces, potential divorces or something like that.
There was a stories that.
Yeah, someone got beaten.
Yeah, for logging we are using the Elma.io. For the logging purposes, interesting fact is that we connected our Slack channel for the storm to this feed from the Elma, so we are notified on each error on Slack that we are used internally in the company.
For example, for maybe not of you are familiar with Slack, it's one of the messaging tool that you can use instead of emails. It's like basically like IRC. So you have channels, and you can subscribe to them and get a notification. So it's a lot easier and a lot quicker than using emails. So for those who don't know about it.
Yep. Yeah. Another thing regarding the project and the project lifetime, it's the deployments. We are using, we have 4 environments. 2 are ours internal to test, dev and staging, and 2 are clients on Azure, testing and production. We are using TeamCity to deploy, so we have automated deployments. Basically, in the Cogworks, we are using the TeamCity for all our projects. So for all our projects, we have set up the one-click deployment, so it saves really a lot of time.
Yeah, and also we use Git, so we have it set it up like that. If you push to a particular branch, this branch is watched by TeamCity, and after there's a commit on this branch, the TeamCity will pull the code, build it, and deploy a version to our dev or staging. So this way, yeah, we can save ourselves a lot of time.
Yeah, and regarding Git, we are using the default pull request strategy. So before we are able to push to any of our branches, the code needs to go through the code review. And it works, to be honest, it works pretty well, I would say.
At least when the commits are not very big, because this way there's no way to review it. But
yeah, right.
if they are small, then this process works.
Yeah. So one thing to mention that we were struggling during the development of the project and during the lifetime of the project was the we are using Examine to index all models to be able to get the board items from the index, not from the database, to speed up the projects. And one thing to notify is that we shouldn't keep the index data on the local temp storage of the web application, because every time the web app is reinitialized, basically the index gets corrupted. There's the known issue, just the thing that to let you know we are struggling it, especially Ismail was struggling with it for a while. Yeah, so the solution is to store the Examine indexes in the Azure blob. Yep. Yeah, so the second of our second project that we would talk about is Days Out Guide.
Days Out Guide. So this is the project that we took over from another company, and this is basically a site built, ordered by the National Rail Association in UK to allow users to search for attractions, and this way also buy tickets for and get vouchers for those attractions on the for the trains. And yeah, it contains ideas for trips. It has a lot of attractions in there, so you can plan your trip with this application.
Yeah, basically the attractions are the base data item of the application.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
everything in the application goes around the attractions. That's the sample page of the attraction.
Yeah, despite being a quite simple site, it has a lot of users, because there are almost 3 million users registered in the application.
Yeah, it's the well-known website in the UK, high profile.
Yeah, over 1,000 attractions, and during the not very busy hours we have like 600.
Yeah, it's average per day.
Average per day. In the peaks we have 3,000 requests per minute. Yeah, so some statistics for those who like to see the lines of code. We are also trying to reach 10,000 here. Hope we will do it this year.
Yeah, just to mention, the commits and the versions are since we inherited the project. So we are working on it about 2 months, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah. So
because we don't have the previous history of the code, so we are just hand over like a zip of the code and.
Yeah, there's a long story behind how we got it.
Yeah.
And
switch.
yeah, there was no source control before, so we took kind of package of the project, and after we set it up on our environments, it appeared that our version that we got in the package is not the version that's actually on the live server.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a problem there, but we managed to fix it. So as you can see here, of course, surprise, surprise, we use Umbraco as our CMS. We are using Rackspace as our hosting partner. There's also some bit of entity framework used for the custom stuff that are stored in the database. We also use Elma.io to check logs online. And this is one of the cool sites to monitor your application performance. It shows you basically what pages on your site are mostly viewed, what are the average response times. So yeah, this also was quite helpful later on. Yeah. Sorry, technical problems. Yeah, so deployment looks very similar. Deployment process looks quite similar to what we have in Storm. So we have our environments. This is dev and staging.
And free on the Rackspace.
Yeah, free on Rackspace. So this is staging for testing for client testing, and pre-prod to see if everything works. And when the pre-prod is approved, then we just switch with production. Yeah,
the difference between this one and the Storm is that on this one, on the Rackspace, we have virtual machines. So we had to set up our own web deploy, and there is a bunch of PowerShell scripts to run it.
So it's not as cool as Michał showed us as it can be, and we are not fans of virtual machines, but we live it with the setup like it is now. So, but maybe it will change in the future.
Yeah, it takes time to.
Next life, maybe. So any problems? As we get the project, the website was very slow.
How slow?
Very, very, very slow.
Yeah, we mean it. It was very slow.
Very slow. Okay, so it basically was like that. So this is average response time. So it's like 90 milliseconds during the peaks of the traffic. So, and the red marks here are basically showing us where the site was throwing a lot of errors.
I think those peaks do not cover the MAMS peaks, right?
MAMS, yeah. I'm not sure how many MAMS is using this Days Out Guide application, because we don't have this kind of metric. But maybe they're exchanging the attractions with each other, and yeah, well, maybe.
Yeah, basically the red color means that the website was not available. There was timeouts.
Yeah, and so we started wondering. Of course, the PM was just like, what the f is going on, and why this site is performing this bad. So we started to investigating this, and this is the statistic from Elma, not Elma, sorry, the New Relic application.
Those are the slowest requests on the website.
Yeah, most of them are the Ajax calls, but you can see that the response times is not as nearly as good.
So according to what Maciej said about 100 milliseconds, if we reduce the...
So living with this lag would be like very painful.
For example, if we reduce from 44 seconds to the 1 second, it would be 100 milliseconds times 400. So it would be 400% increase in the revenue, I guess.
No, yeah, 400, right? Yeah. So it would be like super rich.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we started to investigate it using New Relic to see what are the slowest responses, and using dot trace, which is part of ReSharper Ultimate Pack, to see what code paths are the most executing most, and also we used the Apache JMeter to make
those tests
load
locally,
testing, locally,
manually.
so
I mean,
manually, of course. So we found this code, and for one that will guess what is wrong with this code, we have, I don't know, I will give you Grzegorz.
Yeah, Krówki or Prince Polo.
We will give you Prince
If anyone
Polo,
what might be wrong
even
with this code?
Yeah. What's wrong with automapper? Yeah, but you can also notice this line.
No,
did you? Yeah, this is the good path. Yeah.
No, not always. We're not always saving to cache. Basically,
but
somewhere like here we are checking if the item is in the cache.
Yeah. So yeah, basically, no, this is not the full code, but yeah, previously we are checking if this item is already in the cache. We are not this stupid.
I mean, we think so. But
yeah, but basically. Search service is searching for attractions, but basically this is not the case. The case is that Linku, the select, is a part of Linku. So this is stuff that is used to query database from the .NET code, and it has something like deferred execution. So this deferred execution means that the evaluation of an expression is delayed until its realized value is actually required. This is very technical and it seems quite complex, but it just means that the select will be executed when it will be needed. So not when it will be put in the cache, because this Linku builds the definition of the query, not the results. So with this code, it didn't put the items to the cache. It
just
put the definition, what items should be there. So every time the cache item was basically maybe just here, just was getting from the cache and executed by adding to list, this service was run and the select was also executed. So basically the fix for that was just adding this this line, and believe me, it's simple, but this okay, I will show this, but from this we get to like this, and those are the
slowest. Those
slowest
are
because we didn't fix them.
Still.
Because we didn't fix them.
Yeah, but the fourth one is
this
under
one. So from 49 seconds we get to 100 milliseconds for AJAX request. Just for the technical guys who are here, and just to let you know that, so our presentation will be at least
mix of everything.
Mix of everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, we came across this flower, bug flower, I don't know, but
without small garden.
Without small.
There is a
cold garden.
Without small.
Bezogródek, yes.
Yeah.
Without small garden. So this was called every time we search for attractions. So almost like every request, because every request was basically an attraction search. So, and this was going through should be root node, but it's going through all the descendants of the attraction. So it's traversing through the whole XML cache built for the content. Yeah.
So we did each request.
So basically, and it was the first or default. So it was every time this was executing, it took almost 1 second to execute this. Maybe not 1 second, but it was significant time for each request. And when we have peaks of traffic, then it was very slowing the site down. Besides this other stuff with cache.
Yeah, we don't have it on the slides, but from the CPU usage, about 99%
on the server.
We go down to average about 13%.
13%.
How many cores does it have?
Like
16?
16.
Yeah, it's really powerful
So
machine.
it was powerful machine. So it was, but it died. It was dying when there was a peak in traffic. So yeah.
Yeah, Anya, can you say what client said, that we were first company that
Yeah, and then
that didn't say to the client that they should buy the bigger machine.
Bigger machine. Yeah.
So the previous companies basically were saying just buy a bigger machine just to solve it. So that's not the way.
Yeah, but also it took us quite a lot of time to find this bottleneck and to fix it. So it's also bottleneck and to fix it. So it's also and this is the statistic from our current.
That's the response time average.
So this response time is now without the K here, so it's like 90 milliseconds, not 90K milliseconds. So so it was. We managed to get a better usage of the machine.
And during the work, I would say we get a lot of fun just to solve it. So I think that's one of the things that developers like to do.
Yeah, and also the thing that like Michał said on his presentation, that when you have application running on Azure and you pay as you go, so the more resources you use, the more you will pay. It's forcing developers to start to seek for this kind of bottlenecks and places that you can save money on. So this is also I think this running service like that is also forcing developers to seek how can they improve the website, because we have now fixed machine, and this is paying the same amount of client is paying the same amount of money. Yeah, but as you can see, simple stuff can make site running very fast. Okay, so I will give it the mic.
Boss comes in.
Boss.
Hi, so swapping over. So I'll talk about Recke Benkaiser, of which there's a few guys here already who work there. I'll talk about it because I know most about it, because we worked with them for about 4 years now. So they own a huge number of brands, global brands. You probably recognize some of them. They've got many, many more. I think there's about 120 brands in total for the whole company. And we started working with them 3.5, 4 years ago. We implemented Umbraco into Vanish, was the first kind of proof of concept we did, and then we rolled that out globally. And then from there, we moved on to helping them create a kind of global platform called OneCMS. Basically, where that came from, historically, because they're such a big company, so many brands, each brand in the local markets had their own agencies. Agencies would come in, install whichever CMS they fancied. So as a global company, they had WordPress, Drupal, Joomla, custom CMSs, kind of they were, because they were controlled locally, they had all these different environments. So one of the major issues was, and the kind of where OneCMS came from, was to standardize the back offices across the whole company, because they have a process of the brand managers move brands quite frequently across the company and into different markets. The training of those people moving from one CMS to another CMS was becoming a massive task. So the idea was to standardize onto one back office. So they chose Umbraco, we helped them implement it. And the first version was Umbraco 6. And basically it was the front end was configurable, but the back office was the same. So no matter which brand they worked on, adding a carousel item would be the same on Vanish, Finish, Durex, Scholl, whichever one. So originally, this is from Finish. So in terms of the structure, we have an instance of Umbraco per brand, and then in each brand we have different markets. So this is US, but if this was shrunk, you would see about 40 different markets all listed down. And each site has their own structure, so it's not a one-to-one relationship. Each market can have their own products, their own their own news articles, their own blog articles, FAQs, and things like that. So that was kind of the first version. From there, the next kind of process was, at the same time V7 was launched, they wanted to kind of rebuild one CMS and put some front-end controls on it as well. So as well as controlling the back office, put some kind of templated front-end environment in there as well. So based on the one CMS kind of code base, we helped the guys at RB migrate it to V7. And again, it's kind of built on a brand per instance of Umbraco. I think Greg probably talk more about kind of the technical side of this. Oh, you turned off.
Can you hear me again? Okay.
Yes.
But basically, right now we have set up 50 projects based on the starter kit. For each project, we have from 1 to 17 language versions. So it's quite a big number. Yeah, that's the structure of the starter kit. That's the thing that our front-end developers working on. So they are not touching the .NET and the C#. That they are just working on the front-end stuff. It's kind of the same what Maciej said, how he worked on the project. We are also using Gulp and additionally Bower for the libraries. Yeah, and we have a local server, and the files that we are working on are saved in this directory. Basically, we have on the local front-end developer machine, we have just one instance of the project, and all the teams for the new website instances are kept in here. Can we go further? Yeah. So we are using it's based on the Bootstrap 3. We are using Less, Bower for the libraries, and Gulp for the tasks and for compiling everything. Yeah, and regarding the deployments, as I said before, for each starter kit project, we have one-click deployment, but it's what we can see on this chart. It's the way it works on our client side, on the RB. So we are pushing the changes to the theme styles. Then TeamCity watches the repository. There is a client's RB is the code repository for the starter kit it's the .NET projects based on Umbraco. So they are working on it, then they are improving it. We are working on our styles. So TeamCity merges both projects automatically. Is there any developer from RB here? Are you using Lambda on the Amazon to create new instances? Or is it Lambda on Amazon? Anyone knows? Because it's a black box for us. We just see how it works.
I think on Amazon, I don't know that they... Every time we deploy it, it fires up a brand new instance of an Amazon.
Yeah, but there's a project on Amazon that you can define by script just how the new instances are created. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for each push of our code to their repository, they create new instance of the application on the Amazon EC2 with its own SQL database. It's basically copy of the production database. When this environment passes tests of the client, we push it to the pre-prod, and it's deployed to, it creates another 2 instances for the CMS for editors to be able to edit the code. That's also the thing that Michał said, that with creating the separate node for the admin and pre-prod. It uses the same database as live server, so we need to be, just to not to change what's needed to be changed. So it's only for the client to test, basically. If they approve that everything deploy was successful, as well as on this environment, the same here, then we switch the website to the live. And it basically happens just with the one click in the team city. On our environment, before we go to this step, before we reach this step, we have also automated deployment, where our team city just fires the build configuration on the client's team city. So basically, we're just using team city to deploy, and then if it saves really a ton of time. Okay.
Cool. And I think the key thing to point out is there's one code base shared across all the brands, and there's starter kit versions which are created by the guys at RB and the development team there. And then when the new version is released, that then can update all of the other brands, and all the functionality is then available to all the other brands as well. So just some kind of things that we've helped work with. So in RB, they have obviously tons and tons of products, and they've got their own internal systems. So how do they get that stuff out of the internal systems onto the website? So they have a product catalog, which is kind of a central system that stores imagery and language translations for product pack shots and package instructions and things. So there's in Umbraco, you can see the products here. So the images, description, sort description, product features. There's kind of an accordion here, which has got product information. If it's a pharmaceutical product, it'll have instructions. There's also tagging as well. The tags, again, they're allowed to be edited in Umbraco. So again, these can be translated either through dictionary items or through the tags in the tree. And then all the products are kind of searchable automatically. But the product catalog itself, because it's in an external system, there's a drop-down. So we can have a node, add a new node, and then from this drop-down, they select the product, and basically the content on the website is automatically populated with all the stuff in the product catalog, so there's absolutely no need in here for any editor to come in and change, which gives them a lot of consistency across the whole company, so they know the content on the website is the same as what's in the product catalog. There's also, further down here, there's Umbraco tagging, which uses standard Umbraco tags. Again, they're kind of stored in the tree, so they're configurable. The Umbraco grid in V7, we use it quite a lot now in the new on other projects, but in RB, a lot of the content now, so they can create nice content-rich campaign pages. Obviously, lots of different content types, so product pickers, forms pickers of custom types within the grid, so they could have a quick search or a product, or maybe add a YouTube video. So it's just a simple content page, but obviously there's a rich text editor, a big image. There are pages where you can have 2 panels, 3 panels. So trying to use kind of the cool stuff in Umbraco. Just showing kind of integrations with Umbraco. We built the tip exchange. You may have seen the adverts for Vanish tip exchange on, I don't know if you have it in Poland, but it's kind of a global thing. Basically, it's an application that allows customers to share tips and hints on stain removal. The way we created it is a custom section in Umbraco that allows the editors to administer the hints and tips, so they can go in, and if anybody adds anything they don't want to be there, there is administration in there, so they can remove them. There's pre and post moderation as well, so they can turn that on and off if they want stuff to go straight onto the website or come off. We built it as a separate application, so it kind of sits alongside Umbraco with a separate database, so all the tips get stored in there. There's one instance per market, but the way, so you can see the front end here, so the customer can come in here, they can add a question, it goes onto the site, and people can comment on it, and they can upload videos and imagery in there as well. But in the back office, as I mentioned, it's a custom section, so you can go to the tip exchange, and then they can filter per market. They can come in, they can unpublish and publish, and then they can see the questions. They can also add their own company hints and tips as well, so they go onto the site as well and are kind of flagged as company answers. So they're kind of basically just trying to build a conversation between them and their customers. So the next one, which surprisingly is very similar, although we haven't built this one. So this is built by Umbrella, which is a company in the UK owned by Lee Callagher. It's the biggest site on Umbraco as a service. So Carlsberg, obviously massive. There's 32 brands in Poland alone, 500 brands globally. So they've gone down kind of a similar structure in terms of the way the sites are put together. So in Umbraco as a service, they have all the sites in there as different instances. So they, as far as I can tell, they have a single code base, which is in Umbraco as a service, which then can be populated across all the other brands. But they have an Umbraco instance per brand, the same as we have or the Reckitt guys have. So in here you can see there's the brand. There's kind of global content, but there's market content as well. And then within each market you have the different languages. If it's a multi-language site like Switzerland, where you have French and German. And then within there they've got products and stuff. And you can see it's called Pegasus internally, but you can see all the different brands that they can go in there and edit. Quite a cool thing. I basically, Lee took me through a presentation the other day. I did a screen share with him. But this thing, Falcon Social, kind of jumped out at me as quite a nice thing that they built for it. So basically, for each brand, they wanted to integrate all of the social media channels. So what they do for Summersby, for instance, they've aggregated all the social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, into one area. And they've got an import tool, so they click import, and it pulls in all of the latest posts. They can see them all, and the brand managers can then go, yeah, I like these ones. And what happens then? They select them. It actually creates individual nodes in Umbraco automatically, which then can be tagged and shown across the site as panels and kind of integrated. Oh, that wasn't supposed to be there. Cool, so that was those. So just really quick go through other sites on Umbraco you may not know are Umbraco sites, but may have heard of. That was one. I'll show that one. That's in the wrong place. Added it late. Marcin, build that one. Obviously that's in Poland, so I was trying to find a mixture of Polish ones as well as kind of global ones. This one's an interesting one. So Felix, can't remember his second name, the man who jumped from space a couple of years ago, did the skydive down. That was an Umbraco site, and I think it broke the record at the time. I think it had 8 million concurrent users watching it on YouTube, but it was powered by Umbraco. So just to show, I mean, obviously, I think it was obviously across a number of servers, but it didn't fall over. That's kind of the headline from that fact. So as you can see, Umbraco is capable of running some pretty big sites. Davis Cup is an Umbraco site. Obviously, if you're into tennis, that's a great site. I think that's multilingual as well, and goes across obviously all the Davis Cup sites. Another Polish site, Computer Świat. It's on an older version of Umbraco, but I didn't know it wasn't actually until yesterday when we did a bit of research to trying to find the slides for this. Version 6. Did you build it? There you go. That's good, because I was panicking because I was trying to find out if it was actually, because it's always quite embarrassing when you stick a site on and it's like, oh no, that's PHP now. So luckily I found the editor. NFL in America, so this is the NFL operations, so it's an Umbraco site, but it's about the rules and regulations of the NFL. Domino's, I think that was New Zealand or Australia. So that's the site, obviously, in Australia, where we can order pizza online. Mentioned a couple of times, Microsoft themselves use it, so ASP.NET is an Umbraco site, and has been for probably 5 or 6 years now, probably. So, you know, just to show that, obviously, if Microsoft love it, everyone must do. Interestingly, from what Ismail was saying earlier about local governments, this is one that Anya found last week. I can't speak Polish, unfortunately, but I know it's a government site. You've got a EU thing up there. But it's interesting that there are some Umbraco sites starting to be within Poland in the public sector. And that's it. The Randstad one, which should have been there, but it's in the wrong place. So as you can see, I mean, Umbraco is a great platform. There's a lot of very big companies using it, and it'd be great to, obviously get a lot more, particularly in Poland, get some people using it. So that's our presentation. Anything else? Any questions? Not that there's any questions to ask. If it's technical, I'll pass over to them. You have suites. Anybody know any other sites on Umbraco that we aren't on here that are WOW sites in Poland? No? Oh. Must be one. You get a free suite? No? No one? That's it. Thank you.